Welcome back to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast. I, of course, am your host, KC Phoenix. I'm turning on my Do Not Disturb. Hopefully I got it. Okay, now we're good to go. All right, so this is the full moon in Gemini reading. The full moon in Gemini is happening from, I'm looking at my notes here. It's happening from December the 6th to December the 9th is when the full moon is happening. So it starts on December the 6th in Cusp, so it's still Gemini, I'm having a moment, Taurus. So it's still Gemini, Taurus, and then it goes into Gemini on December the 7th. It'll be at 98% on December the 7th. On December the 8th, it is at 100%. So I guess you could say December the 8th is the actual full moon because it's at 100% then. Then on December the 9th, it goes to 98%. And that's when it's in Gemini, Cancer. So, but still a full moon nonetheless. So, yeah, that's where we're at on the full moon. I'm using my Korean deck. I haven't used it in a minute. Also, I'm using a regular tarot deck too. But in the pre-shuffle with the Korean deck, the Perform Ancestral Rites came out. And then also the Royal Placenta Chamber also came out. The ancestral rites, those are about traditions or about a tradition, but it talks about events. And also it talks about how no one is exempt. So for some of you, there may be some events in December around the full moon, because usually with like the company holiday parties and stuff like that, it's usually not that Christmas week because they know everyone's trying to get with family and stuff. So usually they'll do it maybe the middle of December, just to make sure everyone can attend. So it may be something like that. But usually for these type of events, as related to that card, the Ancestral Rites card, it's about events that you usually can't say no to. Like you have to attend, because with the Ancestral Rites, with that tradition, for the Korean tradition, and really also in other Asian cultures too, but for the Korean tradition, it's one thing that everyone had to participate in. It didn't even matter if you were the king or queen. Everybody had to participate in this. So just keep that in mind. I feel there may be a situation where some guests come, because also it's about guest visiting too, where some guests come and you don't have a say-so. Where it's a thing of, oh, it's your husband's family, or oh, it's your wife's family, or you live with your parents, or you live with your grandparents. And they're like, oh, your cousins from Chattanooga are coming down to visit and they're going to stay with us for a few days. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess. And you may not be looking forward to it. Situations like that. Also with the, had a moment. Okay, with the Royal Placenta Chamber, with that one, that is an events card too. Also, this one mentions bureaucratic events. So there may be something more official, something, I think a Hierophant energy, like government institutions, stuff like that. So some of you may have to attend something very, very formal, is what may happen. Another thing that came out too in these two cards was evidence of secretive people. So if someone's been keeping secrets from you, those secrets may come out, which secrets usually come out during the full moons anyway. So it's sort of a given, but this is another confirmation that if someone was keeping secrets from you, they will more than likely come out during this full moon in Gemini, especially with Gemini being their planet being Mercury, which is about communication. Another thing is that there will be family reunions. Some of you haven't been speaking as well, and that will happen, which also I picked up on that energy in one of my quick 3 tarots, I think, or one of my collective readings. So you may want to check that out. Also, that came up in, I think, the Aries general reading about a reunion with family, or specifically a mother figure. So yeah, again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. As I always say, whatever reading you watch or listen to. KIRWKC.com is the main podcasting platform. For those of you, my longtime listeners, you already know my podcast is pretty much everywhere. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into this reading. May I have the energy for the collective for the full moon in Gemini May I have the energy for the collective for the full moon in Gemini. May I have the energy for the collective for the full moon in Gemini. What is it that the collective, my cards didn't come together the way I wanted them to. What is it that the collective needs to hear? What is it that the collective needs to hear? What is it that the collective needs to hear? May I have some cards, please? Okay, that's too many. Still too many. Okay, so this is like one way or another. I'm going to take these two. Give me 1 second. I'm going to have to do this intuitively. This one. That's the one it is. All right. And then these can go back up. Okay, so what 3 cards do we have here? So the first card is 16th birthday. 16th birthday. All right. And then the second card is prisoner. Prisoner. And also don't read into what the titles are because they can be a little bit misleading sometimes. So don't go there just yet. And then the third card is metal movable type. Metal movable type. All right, now let me get my book and we'll start with the 16th birthday. And that is number 18. There we go. All right, 16th birthday, keywords, big event. I told you, all of these cards, the pre-shuffle cards were both event cards. There's some major events happening in December after this full moon. It says, big event ahead. Very gorgeous banquet. You may be invited to a classy gathering or may have to prepare for such. The heroine cannot just rejoice. She must earn it to deserve it. Anyway, it is a joyous day. Will attract attention from others. So again, another event, and that was confirming what I had said earlier, where I was talking about, I feel like some of these events will be very formal events, very bureaucrat-like government or whatever events, where it's very black tie type of events that some of these people will be attending around this period after the full moon. So that is just another confirmation. Let me go ahead and pull the prisoner one right quick. Okay, prisoner. It says, difficult but unexpected reversal awaits in the future. Meeting a very strong-willed, determined person. Frustrating situation where one cannot accomplish his or her objectives. Must not lose pride even in the midst of difficulties. Can get framed. For the time being, you will have a difficult time being heard out. So, and this can also go to communication again. So during this period, you may have a problem, or it may be more of a obstacle to get your thoughts out or to make your point made. One of the things that you can do, because don't forget, the full moon is on the 8th Mercury starts to go retrograde at the end of December. And don't forget, Mercury is Gemini's planet, as well as Virgo's too. But this is saying, don't feel like you have to get your point across right then in that moment. If it's something that can wait, or if it's something that you can just hold on to for a moment, you may want to consider doing that. Mercury will go direct in the middle of January, but I usually tell people give it like 7 to 10 days after for it to, fizzle out and do that. So if it's something that can be held, let's say until maybe the end of January or the beginning of February, then go ahead and hold it until the end of January or the beginning of February is what I would recommend. Also, be mindful of who you have around you. One thing that I mentioned before going into 2023 is that there will be a lot of scams happening in 2023. One thing that I noticed in this when I was reading the prisoner thing, it was saying that has the ability to be framed for something. Be careful what you put your signature to, because that's on my mind right now. Be careful what you put your signature to. Also, be careful. I'm looking to phrase this the right way. Use your discernment when you decide to, I don't want to say butt in, when you decide to enter a situation where if you're looking to help another person or to do this or to do that, use your discernment before you just decide to put on your cape and do something. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. All right, and now the final one, which is number 64, metal movable type. So let me pull that one right quick, and then we'll get to the tarot after this. All right, so keywords for metal movable type. It says media or widely reproduced rumors or information. The more standardized the task, the more it suits one's aptitude. Rewarding results originate from small ideas. Begins with a small idea. Occupation dedicated to serving others. Fulfilling such a role would be meaningful. Information kept only to yourself is not fun. I don't know why, but I get gossip from this. Is one thing. So I feel like there might be a lot of talking, but also what I got from that is that it's okay. Thank you. Exactly. And I heard this before. Small steps lead to giant leaps. That's one thing on Truth Well Told Tarot on her channel. She says that a lot. Small steps lead to giant leaps. And that's kind of what this is when it's talking about a small idea. For some of you, you may have an idea. Don't forget again, Gemini, Mercury, thoughts, communication. So your wheels may be spinning during this full moon. And something may come out of all of that that can help propel you maybe into the media spotlight, in doing something in media, in doing that. So that could be the beginning of something in the media field. But also what it's talking about is being I don't necessarily want to say a light per se, because I feel like that adds a lot of extra weight on it, and not everyone is always looking to do that. But what it is saying is that you're serving others by giving information. Like there's some type of important information that could help the community or help the world that you are delivering through this idea possibly that you're creating, or either that it will allow you to deliver this information to the masses, which you might be on media. I don't know why TV show is coming to mind. So somebody might be getting a TV deal. Again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. So yeah, let's go ahead and clarify this right quick. Let's see what we get. May I have the energy for the full moon in Gemini? May I have the energy for the full moon in Gemini? May I have the energy for the full moon in Gemini? Can we clarify the cards on the table? Can we clarify the cards on the table? Can we clarify the cards on the table? May I have some cards, please? That is way too many. But I'm going to do it intuitively again. Just bear with me, because it takes a second. This one. Interesting. So 5 of Cups is what this is. For some of you, I'm going to events. I'm getting 2 things here. Some of you may not feel like going to these events that are happening in December, where you're invited. And again, like I said at the beginning, some of you may not have a choice and you have to attend these events. And it may put you in 5 of Cups energy, because it's like, okay, yeah, it's nice that they invited me, but no, I really don't want to go. So, yeah, that could be the energy. Also, one thing that I did pick up is that somebody may not be invited to an event that they thought they would have been invited to, and that might affect them. But I say look at it glass half full. At least you don't have to worry about getting ready to go to an event. You know, picking out a new outfit or doing this or doing that. You don't have to worry about it. May I have some more cards, please? Thank you. Wow. Some of you might be dealing with the court situation. The reason I'm saying that, it's not, I'm not even going to say might. Somebody's dealing with the court situation. Because both these cards came out at the same time for the prisoner. Justice and Judgment. Someone's dealing with the court situation, is what they're dealing with. Someone might have been framed too, because remember that was one of the things. So if this isn't you, don't worry about it. Again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. However, be mindful what you sign. Also, be mindful who you associate with, because associating with certain people could bring in this judgment and this justice. Now, on the bright side, these are in the upright, so this means whatever this is, it will more than likely turn out in your favor if you end up dealing with this, or if you're already dealing with this. It may end up turning out in your favor. Just heard something about somebody coming home for Christmas. So somebody may be in jail right now and they're waiting on some information or paperwork or this or that. You may hear about that during December, where they're actually released right before or right around Christmas. So again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But also, with this judgment and this justice, make sure to use your discernment with who you deal with in the situations you enter into. Also, I heard something about being a prisoner in the sense of you're not an actual prisoner, but it's more like there's a codependency somewhere. So keep that in mind too. Whatever relationships you have with people, they have to be balanced. They have to be balanced. All right. Let's go ahead and clarify some more. May I have some more cards, please? Thank you. I want to take another one for that. Thank you. I'm going to take all of these. Yep. Yep. And yep. What's at the bottom of the deck? Ooh. 10 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So yeah, with this particular card right here where it was saying a small idea can lead to something big, like I said before, I feel like somebody might get their own TV show. That's still kind of on my mind. The other cards that came out is the 5 of Swords. And one thing that I heard was be careful with your words. Your words can hurt. I'm going back to one of the things when we were talking about prisoner and how it would be difficult to get your point across. I feel like some of this is in here, in this card, because when people can't get their point across, sometimes they just go straight to the outrageous, even though there might be some truth in it. It's just it becomes hyperbolic. And because of that, they may say some things where it's like, whoa, whoa, hey, 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 that type of energy. So you may want to be careful with your words, because they may cut some people, because 5 of Swords is about winning at all costs. It can be about defeat, and it can be about surrender, but it can be about winning, but there's been some collateral damage along the way. In order for you to get that victory, you had to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. But you have to be mindful of that. Like, how many eggs do you want to crack? All right, and then the 3 cards here is the Ace of Swords, which is a victory card. So this is another confirmation. And all of this is air energy, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. And then you have the Knight of Wands, which is about passion. This is fire energy, Sagittarius, Leo, Aries. And the Knight of Wands, it can be a travel card too, because the Knight of Wands moves through stuff passionately. And also I feel like there may be some passionate discussions, around, during, or a little bit after this full moon, which again goes back to that 5 of Swords energy. But one thing that you're doing with this Ace of Swords, you will be speaking your truth, is what you will do. And you're going to stand by what you believe in with the Strength card. Also, I feel the Strength card can be related to this Judgment and Justice card, having the strength to deal with that situation, to deal with any negativity, and to keep moving forward, and also not to lose your voice, is what I'm getting. But the biggest thing I'm taking away from this is a lot of events. And one of these things is going to bring stability for some of you, because this is 10 of Pentacles. This is generational wealth, is what this is. And with the Ace of Swords being a victory card, that's just more of a confirmation. But events will be the main focus during and after this full moon, especially for December. It's going to be lots and lots and lots of events. So yeah, that is the message. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Till next time, be blessed.